All right, on today's show, we have some important Instagram updates that we need to be on top of as marketers, including we can now link Reels to other Reels, but what Reels should we be linking to? Also, Meta admitted that videos edited in a certain way are getting more reach on Instagram. We'll tell you what that little hack is, if you want to call it that. More restrictions on live streaming. Not as many people are going to be able to do it on Instagram. And does saying link in bio reduce your reach? That and some other Instagram myth busting, all coming up on today's show. My name is Jerry Potter, host of the Social Media Marketing Talk Show, where we break down all the latest social media news and what it means for marketers like you. This is a Social Media Examiner production, and today I'm joined by Chelsea Peitz. Chelsea teaches sales professionals how to leverage social media and technology to build powerful personal brands and develop content that generates real leads. She is the host of the Chelsea Peitz podcast, and her most recent book is called What to Post. Chelsea, welcome to the show.
So excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. So let's start with the 2015 feature that we now finally have, the ability to repost legally, not with a third-party app, on Instagram. So exactly how does this work and what are your thoughts around this?
Yeah, I think there was some confusion because at first I was confused. So I'm glad that we're talking about this at the top of the show. It is pretty cool. Now we can actually repost other people's reels, carousels, their public posts that go into the feed. And where I was confused, I was like, but where does it go? And so when, let's say you posted something, of course, like I want to repost that we're on this show together. You posted it on your account. And if I see it, because I'm following you, or even if I'm not following someone, if I see something, I can hit the little, it looks like two little arrows, like in a circle. I can hit that, repost, and it goes two places. One, it's going to go to a dedicated tab on my profile. So kind of like when people tagged you, in other content, there's like that tagged tab.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be living there. So I can repost events that I'm doing or shows that I'm, collabing with people on. So I can post those there. And also anything that you repost to your profile tab, it's also going to be like inserted, almost like suggested posts into like your friends and your community's home feed. So what you'll see is like, you'll see that my little profile picture kind of floating on that post that I reposted. So I kind of understand it as almost like it's like a suggested post that's going into your feed, but it's a repost. And so that's where I was confused. I was like, but where is it going?
Yeah, well, that makes sense because it's kind of like, okay, well, if I repost a reel, is it going in the Reels feed? And I would imagine it has a higher chance of coming up in the Reels feed, like you said, as a suggested video. And then I haven't actually used it. Can you do anything, or it just gets reposted and it shows that it was reposted by you and that's it?
I used it once. I don't know why I'm saving it. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I did try it. And what I kept looking at is like, why don't I have a tab yet? So I noticed that until I reposted something, I didn't have the tab. And then once I reposted something, it finally appeared. And so now I have the extra tab on my profile. It's living there almost like as if I posted something onto my profile. And I, of course, haven't seen what it looks like from your perspective when I repost something. But my assumption is that particular reel that I reposted will have my profile picture. And I think it also has the little icon, the arrow icon. So you can tell that, oh, so-and-so reposted this video. But it should go to the home feed, not specifically the Reels feed, but the home feed of like your community's content.
But if something got a bunch of reposts, it's more likely to come up in the Reels feed anyway, I would think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But there's no way to add like your own commentary to it or anything like you can on LinkedIn. You repost something, you can add your thoughts at the top.
I would assume that's coming. I don't think they have that yet, but I would assume that that's coming. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen like if you've commented on something, it will pop up and it will show your profile picture and your comment. I don't know if I'm in a testing group, so it's possible. It's just a matter of like seeing if they're going to be doing that.
Yes, I have seen that in comments. You're more likely to see comments from people that you follow on other content and things like that. So yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. I think for me, as I'm browsing, I'm just used to not being able to share. So it never even occurs to me.
And it's funny because I still see a lot more people hitting the share button to share to stories and then to directly to friends than the repost. So on my content specifically. So I think that's interesting. It might just take a little bit of time for us to get used to it.
A consumer adoption. Yeah, for sure. All right. And then another feature that rolled out is Reels linking. And so this is the opportunity to link your reel to another reel. So explain to us, I guess, first what that looks like. So if I link to another reel, can I link to only my own or anybody's? And then when it shows up in the feed, what exactly does that look like?
Yes. So this, I was at first really excited because I thought we were finally getting playlists, and it's not exactly like a playlist, because if you're looking at other apps that have a list and maybe you have 10 videos in a series, maybe they're just related content, maybe it's part 1, part 2, part 3, etc., then you would have all of them in one playlist and you could autoplay them. It's not quite like that. I'm hoping that's where we're going, but this
Yeah.
is literally the ability to link to one of your own previously posted reels. It's your own, so it's not linking to other people. So you click the button that says link reel on the last flow page before you post it. It pulls up your own reels and you can select one, unfortunately just one at a time. So this really would be more conducive to a part 1 and then go here and it'll show part 2. You can actually make a little title so that it shows on that reel, part 2, watch next, or something like that. So people realize they can go to the next video. And then on that part 2, if you have a part 3, you could then rinse and repeat and it put part 3, watch next. So ultimately it would be great to just have it all in one place. But for now, it's better than nothing.
Well, and I think too, it also it removes some of the pressure of having to plan quite that far ahead, or even plan a series. Because as obviously you are amazing at Instagram, and YouTube is my primary platform where we've had essentially it's kind of like an end screen thing, even though they have a thing in YouTube Shorts where you can also link to other videos. But I would see this as an opportunity if you actually plan your content out like the way we do it on YouTube. It's like, now that you know that, you probably are wondering about this. Click the related link or the related reel or the linked reel. What does it say? Does it say?
So the button itself, when you're actually linking your reel, it says link reel and you push that button. But when the viewer sees a reel with a link on it, it's sort of down at the bottom. It's like a little gray highlight and it will say the title of whatever you have created. So when you click your reel that you want to link, it will say, would you like to give it a title, like part 2 or watch next, and then that will pop up.
Okay, so if the button says linked reel, yeah, you'd probably say, click the linked reel down below to find out, such and such.
So
that to me,
I find to YouTube, yes.
Yeah, that on Instagram, part of the problem from a marketing standpoint is it's like somebody could watch your reel and maybe it's even a longer one, right? 2.5, 3 minutes, and they could even like it, but then are they going to remember it an hour later? So if you could get somebody to binge multiple pieces of content and spend 10, 15 minutes with you, I feel like conversion could go a lot faster.
Yeah, I think you could get a lot more followers this way, getting them to convert, because if you're not just watching one, but you're starting to watch multiple, I'm much more likely to say, yep, I'm going to follow this person, especially if it is a part series and I want to see what's coming. I would follow for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, takes a little more planning, but there's definitely a lot of upside and potential here. So we're obviously talking about the latest Instagram updates, and we're always trying to think of like, how do we future-proof our marketing? The marketing landscape obviously continues to shift faster than ever. AI tools that seemed impossible last year are almost outdated now. By April 2026, the strategy you're using today won't be enough, which is why we want to invite you to Social Media Marketing World. It is coming up quick. You're going to learn how to create better content in less time, master Instagram and LinkedIn video tactics, build really loyal communities that drive sales, connect with other future-ready marketers. Plus, you'll discover how to turn AI tools into your personal marketing assistant. So Sarah Heilbronner was there last year, said the AI speakers were amazing. Every bit of information they shared was completely new and valuable to me. This is the kind of event where the speakers update their slides the day of the presentation sometimes, just to make sure that you're getting the absolute latest. So get ahead of the curve, grab your ticket now, go to socialmediamarketing.world. Again, socialmediamarketing.world. All right, we have to talk about the Reels map sharing and the Friends tab, because when this rolled out, everyone thought, oh my God, Instagram is sharing my location and I didn't give them permission. Turned out that wasn't true, but explain to us what this feature is and where the confusion was, just so we can clear it up.
I think I had a flashback first and foremost to Snapchat, as you probably did too, because this was a thing on Snapchat. And yes, of course, people thought, oh my gosh, wait, my location is being shared. I don't think I want that. So Adam Mosseri came on and said, whoa, 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 don't panic, because it's going to be something that is by default going to be off and you're going to have to turn on. And there's a few other things, right? I think they said it would be like only sharing with people that were like mutual follows or friends, and you would actually have to tag wherever your location is in like the story. So personally, I tried to go into my settings. I did not have the button at that time, but essentially it's a map where if, let's say, we're tagging ourselves at Social Media Marketing World, then we would be able to see that show up on a map in the particular location that that area was in. And so the map feature is rolling out. I don't know if it's available globally yet. And there are, of course, parental controls included for location sharing, etc. And it kind of ties in also to the friends tab, if you will, if you have that in Reels, where you can also kind of see what your friends are liking and engaging with. And of course, there is a setting for that to be turned off as well.
Yeah. And it seems to be all of the privacy is tied to whatever is already on your account, right? So if somebody can see your stories and you put your location in your stories, then they can see you on the map. But I totally understand why people freaked out.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if, I was trying to think of, marketing applications, if, you'll be able to see people that are, showing at or near your location and then maybe make them a special offer or different things like that. But it will obviously depend on how they have all their privacy settings with all of that. So yeah. All right. So hence, this is a really interesting update where Instagram has basically said, yeah, if you edit your videos in this way, we're going to give you more reach. I'm surprised that they admitted this, but it's tied into their app, the Edits app. So walk us through what they said about this.
Yeah. So they said, hey guys, if you use Edits, you might get a little bit more reach for a time. They didn't say how long for a time, but I mean, it's a kind of a smart move if you're going to have the head of Instagram say, hey, use this thing and we're going to give you more reach for a time. I personally have not noticed that. I've not noticed a difference, but I do use Edits now pretty much exclusively.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I no longer use CapCut. I use Edits. And they have put in quite a few new updates, which I know we're going to talk about a few. But yeah, he said, listen, short term, we're gonna let you get a little bit more of a boost in reach. So I don't know what short term means. Like, when is that going to go away? If it is, but definitely a way to drive in adoption of a new tool is to have your head of programming say, hey, you might want to use this because we're giving you a little bit of extra love.
And they were pretty transparent about it. They're like, yeah, we're trying to grow this other app. So this is what we're doing. So tell me why you decided to move on from CapCut or editing natively in Instagram to Edits. Was it a specific feature, or what made it for you finally just go, this is where I'm going to do my stuff?
Well, it really was, like, hey, if I were Facebook, Instagram, whoever, and I had my own editing system, why wouldn't I want people to use it? So I just thought, from day one, before they even announced something, I thought, well, maybe this is, a way for them to say, oh, you're using our tools. And also I do teach Instagram. So it's important for me to like really know how to use those tools. Of course, there are other people that are in social media may not, so they might love CapCut, and I loved CapCut as well. CapCut is very robust, and so it can be overwhelming for a lot of people. Instagram's Edits has been a little bit more easy to adopt because there's not so many buttons yet, but it is expanding. And I do love the quality. I don't know how they do it, but the quality of the video is like so crisp over there. And also, I don't know, again, if I know a lot of people had issues with like 4K and like the size of their videos and then they getting compressed. I don't know if that's changed at all if you're using it through Edits versus going to an outside app. But I did sort of notice the quality of my videos just looking different if I was exporting from something outside. So I kind of thought, well, I like the quality of it. So that's mainly why I decided to stay.
Yeah. Well, and CapCut, I think, started easier to use, but then if you came in later, they've added all of these more features, and Edits will probably do the same thing. But
yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Yeah. All right. And they are always adding new features to edits, and we're not going to go into all of them. But what are some of the few new features you think that you like the most that would be helpful for marketers?
Yeah, I didn't think I would like it as much, but they have this new like safe zones area, and they did have the lines where it would tell you if you're putting your text too far down, you would see sort of those grid lines come up. But the way that they've done it now is it's like just a highlighted area, so it's a much more easy to visualize, full highlighted area. And I was like, oh, this is way better than just like the little lines that they had. So that was great. I've been using that quite a bit. They've added keyframes a while ago, which if you're not exactly sure what keyframes are, it's when you see somebody do one of those like smooth zooms in and smooth zooms out. That's what you use, is called a keyframe. Now they have what's called keyframe curves, and I tried it and I was like, I don't really see like a huge difference, but I think for anybody who's doing more cinematic things, is maybe used to CapCut, they're adding more of those elements in there. And then the last thing, I think for anybody who's really interested in like the data and the insights, you can swipe between reels and insights now. So you can kind of go back and forth and you can compare your engagement metrics. So anybody who is really focused on that, it's going to be a little bit easier to do those things.
Well, and you bring up another good point too. There are insights built into edits, right? Without having to go back to Instagram. And so it is almost like a studio for somebody
Right.
who's serious about growing and marketing on Instagram. So, yeah. All right. Speaking of analytics, they did announce a couple of new tools in Instagram analytics, or insights as they call them, which sound like they'll definitely be useful if you are looking to improve your content. So tell us what these updates are about.
Yeah, so they are doing some. I think that if we're looking at analytics, if we've got any, data nerds out there that are constantly looking, and people who are really focused on their hooks and the developmental of like the storytelling and keeping people's attention, these are going to be right up your alley. It's called Reels retention rate. I believe at once upon a time they used to have a curve that was called audience retention. So probably nothing like super new for those who've been following along, but Reels retention and skip rate. So you can now see what part of your reel did people decide to just skip, or I guess it would be skip and go to the next one.
Yeah.
And so they're also looking at, shows the percentage of viewers within the first 3 seconds. So they have, different metrics that can help you understand where in your video did people decide to stop watching, which of course can help you with your hooks, with your storytelling, with your editing, and all of those things.
Yeah, and I think it's always important with that kind of thing to just compare it to your other videos, because we often we're like, well, what's good and what's normal, and it's not all on us. Like part of it is, if too many people are swiping away, our hook is weak, or too many people are swiping away because it's not reaching the right audience. So I think that would be another thing, is to give it some time before you panic on anything. Like let Instagram have some time to figure out who it's for, and then I think your swipe rate will go down. What do we say? It will get better. I don't know if that's up or down.
Yes, it will improve.
Your skip rate.
Also, one other thing, I love that you kind of put that little different reframe on it. I think another thing to reframe is how, in essence, we consume content, especially on Instagram right now. One of the upcoming test features we're going to talk about. Your content can be really good and well edited and formulated, and still it's almost this compulsion for us to go to the next thing. And so there is an element of, yes, look at these, compare with your own, but don't get too wrapped up in it, because, people, in the nature of how we scroll is to scroll to the next thing. So I wouldn't say that it's out of the ordinary if people watch half a video and then go on to the next and then go on to the next. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's something perhaps to fix, but sometimes that's how we've been trained to engage. And that's, I think, a part of it too. So don't get discouraged.
Yes, yeah. A couple of other insights updates. They have replaced the accounts reached with viewers, which gives a more accurate view count. So they're just kind of streamlining things across the platforms. And then a new section in Insights is going to show which posts and reels drove the most new followers, which this is very, very helpful. Is this something you're tracking in your Insights now?
I know I'm such a rule breaker. As I'm a human-centered nervous system supporting social media strategist. So I don't actually look at metrics. I make up my own, because I'm very self-aware, know that I will absolutely change how I do things and get caught up in the metrics. And so I don't do that anymore. So I personally do not look at metrics in the same way that a lot of other social media strategists do. However, for those social media managers who do and thrive on it, I love that for them. This one is a good one. If I had to put a list of like metrics that I think would be really telling, I think that retention rate, the skip rate, and also which reels created the top followers, then I think that's a really good indication of what was it about this reel and how can I infuse more of that into future reels.
We had a speaker at Social Media Marketing World, and she was talking specifically about, on Instagram, it's like pick one thing to focus on at a time. Like you can't be going, okay, I want to grow and convert and, like think of it in seasons almost.
Yes.
And if you are in the growth season, then yes, looking at being able to see which one of pieces of your content brought in the most new people is an incredible way to then, okay, well, let's make more of that.
Exactly.
So, but it is a sensitive thing. If you're a personal creator and or a business and you're putting your heart into this stuff and you go in and you're like, oh, like the skip rate alone, just the phrase sounds.
I will not be looking at that. I will not be looking at skip rate.
The phrase alone sounds like it was written to hurt our mental health almost. So,
yes.
So that's why I like the ones where it's, hey, look, these are the things that are growing your account is, mentally healthy as well too. So,
yes, exactly.
All right. Live streaming on Instagram, it's still a thing. A lot of people are doing really well with it. And now they are adding some new limits onto who can live stream and who can't. So can you explain what the latest on this, just so kind of people know, especially if they're growing a new account and they're like, oh, I'm going to get it. What can we expect with this?
Yeah, live streaming used to be available to any account of any size. And now there is a requirement that you have at least 1,000 community members. So 1,000 followers. Instagram has said, hey, it costs a lot of money and there's a lot of load that goes in when we, do live videos. We've even talked about this with high quality videos and then down ranking the quality. So that's probably part of it. Also to, restrict new accounts and make sure that they really are, putting in the work to create a community. So yes, if you are under 1,000 followers and you were hoping to live stream, or perhaps you had actually live streamed in the past, and then you got a pop-up, you didn't do anything wrong. Yes, they are changing these limits for a variety of reasons. So yes, you need to have 1,000 followers to go live.
And I totally get why they're doing it, but sometimes this stuff makes me realize like this is why people go buy followers, right? This is why people go and do some of those things. So, all right, let's do a little myth busting. So for a long time, this has been a very sensational hook. If you say link in bio, your reach will tank because they know you're trying to promote something. They know you're trying to market something. And so Instagram's head, Adam Mosseri, recently commented on this. What did he say about the whole link in bio?
He said, it's a myth. We're not going to punish you. Like, feel free to say it. I know a lot of us have been thinking, oh my gosh, like they don't want us to leave Instagram. True. But link in bio directly from the head of Instagram is, hey, listen, you're safe. You can say it. And, we expect people to do business and to drive people to the products. That's part of what the platform offers to its users. So yes, you can use link in bio, but there's also story link stickers and other ways that you can do it. But I know for a long time, I was one of the people, I was afraid to even type the words link in bio in my caption because I was afraid it was going to read it and like I was going to get in trouble. And I also never used the link emoji because I was so like see all these myths.
Wow.
Like, I know, it's silly. Like that was
we can say it's a myth, but then you and I both know people who have had Instagram stories where there's no link sticker, and then the third story of the day has a link sticker, and all of a sudden the reach is just terrible.
Yeah.
So they can say this all they want. We still need to test ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. But again, reaching 100 people and getting link clicks for a lot of us is a lot more valuable than reaching 1,000 people and not getting any link clicks.
Exactly.
So, all right. And then another one, people have been worried that using long captions is impacting how much reach a post gets. And so Mosseri came out and commented on this one as well. What did he say with this?
I'm so glad to hear that a long, detailed caption is not going to negatively impact your reach because I am a long, detailed caption writer. because
Yes.
I enjoy it. I want to give a lot of information. I don't care if people don't read it. Like if one person reads it and it helps them, that's wonderful. It's actually more for me because it helps me think about what I'm teaching and talking about and formulate it in a way. And I use that caption for other things like blog posts, etc. So a lot of people that were like, oh, you don't want to write too long of a caption because they're going to not show it to as many people. He said, in fact, that is also a myth. And you can write as much as you're allowed to your heart's content, but don't feel like you have to. It's really more to add to whatever you're saying, to give more information that you didn't want to cover or didn't have enough time to cover. And so it's more of a nice to have rather than like a requirement that you have to have a certain length of caption.
Okay. And one thing I just want to put out there from like, this is what I see as a consumer that I think we need to be aware of as marketers when we're doing these reels and we're putting the actual value in the caption, and then the caption shows up as black text on a dark video background or white text on a white video background. We can't read it. So that's something just to always look at and check your stuff to make sure that it's consumable. Yeah. So I just did that with a smile, even though it drives me crazy because I'm like, I want the information. I can't read this.
Oh no.
So. All right. And then, we talked earlier about this skip rate and people just, ditching the content because they're ready for the next thing. But now Instagram is testing a new auto scroll toggle that automatically advances the next post or reel after the current one finishes. Now, I don't know how they decide the current post is finished if it's not a video, but yeah, what are we seeing about this so far? I know it's just a test, but
yeah, you make a good point because if it's like a carousel post, nobody's scrolling. Does it scroll through for you? I don't know, but I'm thinking more like reels, like when it auto plays. And I mean, honestly, I don't imagine I would personally use this as much unless I'm doing something and I can't actually, like if I'm getting ready in the morning and I want to check in and have that scrolling, then I could see that being helpful because then it auto plays and I don't have to stop and like actually scroll. And I know, again, Snapchat was kind of the first person who did this in the old days. And I completely forgot about that until I was like, oh yeah, I remember it would just like, you would watch the story and it would go on to the next person's story. And you didn't even have to tap it. So it's in beta testing. No idea if it'll actually become a thing. I think this is a thing in other apps though, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so they're testing the auto scroll. And I want to say the important thing is it says auto scroll toggle, which in my mind says, hey guys, if you want to turn this on, you can click the button. Otherwise, it's just going to be business as usual. So don't panic. We don't think it's going to be like everything is going to be auto scroll.
And that's why I think it probably will get added because you bring up a good point. Sometimes people want a hands-free experience. Mm-hmm. They're not looking to just be like next. They're not filling a gap in their day necessarily, but they want to have it on while they're in the bathroom getting ready or cooking in the kitchen or things like that. So with the toggle, I could see that being something that consumers loved, but just something to keep in mind if you're hoping to get, your content looping, like you're making some of those ones that you're hoping, the only reason you're getting reach is because it's 4 seconds and it loops over and over again.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, that's a really good point, Jerry.
Yeah, that may go away. So that's why we need to be aware of this change for sure. So, all right, quick reminder, learn about your all access ticket to join us at Social Media Marketing World in Anaheim coming up in April. Go to socialmediamarketing.world. Again, socialmediamarketing.world. And Chelsea, where's the best place for people to connect with you?
No surprise, it's on Instagram. You can find me under my first and last name. It's chelsea.peitz. It's Peitz.
All right. And another podcast for you to check out. If you enjoyed this one, definitely check out the Social Media Marketing Podcast. Search it in any of your favorite podcasting apps. And until next time, may you be wise with your marketing decisions. Thanks, everyone. Bye.